Welcome to our playground.
Recess the podcast is an eclectic show of organic discussion, imagination, deep conversations, interviews, creativity, intuition, high vibrations, and fun.
Be informed, energized, inspired, and entertained with me, Jamie.
And me, Brian. Ready or not, here we come.
Because we all need to take a break. Hey, Brian, how are you today?
I'm great, Jamie. How are you?
Fabulous. So happy to be able to play, have some recess with you. And we have a lovely guest today. You want to introduce him?
Yeah, this is going to be a lot of fun. And this gentleman has a lot of great stories. And we originally met, we shared the same publisher, Mango, at the time. He's got lots of books. I have one with Mango, but I digress. Allen Klein. Have you ever met, Jamie, have you ever met a jellytologist?
I have now.
Well, yeah, well.
Not before.
Oh no. Allen Klein is a jellytologist and ambassador of light who shows people worldwide how to use humor and positivity to deal with life's not so funny stuff. He's a TEDx presenter on the power of intention and the author of over 30 plus books, including the best-selling book, The Healing Power of Humor, as well as Embracing Life After Loss, and The Awe Factor, which spiritualityandpractice.com called one of the best spiritual books of 2020. Welcome, Mr. Ambassador of Light.
Thank you, Brian. Fabulous to be here.
Awesome. Yeah, how are you doing?
How am I doing?
What happened to your red nose?
How am I doing? I am so amazed at life. You know, my friend says I live an abundant life. And it's so true, but I also, power of intention really said it all. We get what we put out there. And I guess I'm putting out good stuff, so good stuff comes back. I mean, this week alone, I was invited to go see 2 operas at San Francisco Opera Company.
Yeah.
I was taken out before one of the operas. I was taken out to dinner for my birthday, which was in April. Like
months
ago. So, well, I never gave you a gift. And the amazing thing about that, Brian, is this restaurant she took me to, I've been wanting to go to since it opened pre-COVID. And every time I would drive by it, I would say, I got to make a reservation. I got to go. But they're not open for lunch. And so it's dinner and it's near the opera house. And so they're always crowded and it's hard to get a reservation. So I never did it. And when I said, where are we going? She mentioned that restaurant. I thought, oh my God, this is too much.
And it was on that. It wasn't, you didn't have to pay for it.
Exactly. Or the opera. It was fabulous. So,
well, asking you shall receive.
Yeah, how am I doing? That's the way my life works these days.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
It should.
Yeah. We could talk about so many different things. You've had so many different amazing experiences that I will put in the show notes because we're not going to be able to hit them all right now. But, the healing power of humor is a big thing that you like to talk about. When did it kind of maybe come into your consciousness, and how did it help you, and when did you know that you wanted to kind of speak more about it to help others?
So it happened out of what some people would say was a tragedy. My wife had a rare liver disease. There were no liver transplants. There was no cure, and she passed away 3 years after that. But what was the impetus for that book is we always had a great, always would, laughter together. We'd laugh a lot together. And she would say, like, Alan, you always make me laugh. And I would say, Ellen, with you, life's always an adventure because lots of things happened. We don't have time to go into, but with her, things were an adventure. And I never thought I was funny, but she thought I was. And so after she died, I look back and I realized it was that laughter that helped us rise above the situation, that gave us a little reprieve, gave us a different way, a little bit of perspective on what was happening. And so after she died, I went back to school. I gave up a business I had. And I studied the therapeutic humor. And I realized I wanted to tell people how it helped me get through the loss, get through the grief. One example, Brian, I'll give you that I always use, she was in the hospital and she had a copy of Play Girl magazine. Yeah, that's right. Play Girl magazine with the male nude centerfold. And she said, Alan, look at this hunky man this month. Can you put it on the wall by the bed over there? And I said, Ella, it's a hospital. Little risque for that. And she said, well, maybe you're right. She said, why don't you get a leaf from the plant and cover up that part? And I did that, and things were fine for the first day, fine for the second day, but by the third day, the leaves start shriveling up, and we would start to laugh. And you know, Brian, it wasn't a lot of laughter when I look back, but just that momentary laughter helped us rise above the situation. So after she died, I realized how valuable that was. And nobody was talking about humor in death and dying and grief. And so I started to learn about, I got a master's degree in human, Human development. But my thesis was the healing power of humor. And I did 2 years of research on that and just started to teach and became a keynote speaker on the subject. And this amazes me. I almost failed speech in college. I got like a D in speaking in the speaking class. And there I was speaking in front of 500, 1,000, 1,500 people talking about therapeutic humor. So that's, my life totally changed after her death.
Ellen, I'm curious. That is such a beautiful story, but I'm curious, how does someone find humor when you just can't feel it, when you can't access it? How do you access it?
Well, I think you're right. I think it's not easy. But the fact of even in negative, difficult times, there is humor all around us. At funerals, people look in the coffin and they go, oh, they never look so good. Like that. I heard about one funeral where the priest looked in the coffin and said, well, the shell's here, but the nut inside is gone. So what I'm saying is there is humor all around, but in those really difficult times, it's hard to find. So sometimes we have to look for it. Sometimes we have to maybe be in touch with someone who we know helps us to laugh. And tears and laughter are very close. So sometimes we're crying, sometimes we're laughing. And often people beat themselves over the head when they find some humor after someone has died. Like, how could I laugh at a time like this? But basically what they're finding is laughter is very healthy. So it could help us. We constrict when we're in grief or when we're really sad, we constrict, and humor helps us open up. And so it may not be easy, but what I'm saying, it's there and we need to look for it.
I know for me, I can take life a little too seriously, and not always grief of loss of a loved one. It could be grief from loss of a job, or grief from loss of an identity, or all kinds of ways that you can grieve. And I know for me, I can often take life way too seriously. So I will put on one of my favorite talk shows, and I have two go-tos. One is Whose Line Is It Anyways? Because I like stupid improv. And my second one is the Graham Norton Show. If people aren't familiar with it, it's a BBC talk show, late night talk show, and he's just hysterical. And so that's the way that I can access my humor, is that I'll watch something funny.
Yeah, so that's another tip is, gravitate towards things that before the loss helped you to laugh.
Yeah.
And you're so right about, there's all kinds of losses. My daughter I was talking to yesterday, she's an artist and she's going to be doing a class on people who were divorced and helping them get over that loss through artwork. through doing some projects. But that also, and I said to her, they're going through the same 5 stages that Kubler-Ross talked about when she talked about grief. Same thing as losing a loved one in divorce.
I myself can kind of maybe resonate with the grief of maybe not attaining a goal or having something happen that's the way that you maybe wanted to.
Yeah, it's all kind of loss we go through. Yeah. And we need to stop at each of those and say, maybe how will this look in 5 years? And maybe find humor that way. But yeah, I mean, I'm not saying not respect the person that maybe you lost, but taking care of yourself is really important at that time, and finding some humor is one way to do that.
I'll share a little antidote, if you will, but a few months ago, I got into skiing when I moved to Reno. And so I've only been skiing for 2 seasons now. And last season, at the very end, I ruptured my ACL. And that was a loss because I had to have surgery, and now I'm in recovery and trying to get my strength back so I can get back on the slopes, hopefully this next season. But at the moment, it felt like a huge loss because I couldn't ski. But the humor I found was I got to sled down the mountain in my beautiful blue coat, waving like a little princess.
With ski patrol. Did you have a Saint Bernard come with a little flask or something to kind of,
I always keep Fireball on me.
Oh, of course you do.
Yeah.
Oh
Keeps your
my
belly
God.
warm when you're skiing.
Well, yeah.
Right.
This is, I think, you're not only an author and, a teacher, but you have a very interesting history of working in New York, designing sets for television and talk shows and all kinds of stuff like that. I know it's kind of a 180, but I love that kind of stuff. I want to hear some of your stories and some of your experiences with that.
So my big show, Brian, was Captain Kangaroo, but
I grew up with that.
No, you're too
Oh.
young for that.
No.
Mr. Green Jeans, Captain Kangaroo.
It was on for a while. Maybe I caught it at the end. I don't know, but I did remember it.
Yeah.
I do remember it.
Bunny Rabbit, yeah, Mr. Moose, Grandfather Clock.
What was that like? Was everybody cool?
It was a job, but it was a fun job. It was like, but look, I don't know, somehow when I'm in it, I'm doing it and it's a job. But when I look back at God, that was a lot of fun. I could have been a garbage collector, which wouldn't have been too much fun,
Yeah.
But no, it was what really struck me was I'd go in the control room and captain would be talking about something, or I don't know, but every day I would learn something new, and I thought,
What way?
What?
In what way?
Well, like they'd be talking about the Rocky Mountains for some reason, or they'd be showing a little clip of a film, or I don't quite remember exactly what, but there were very educational moments on the show too. It wasn't just Bunny Rabbit tricking Mr. Green Jeans into giving him ping pong balls or carrots, doing a ping pong ball drop, or but those were fun too. Yeah, I mean, it was so much better than working on a soap opera. I'll tell you that.
Did you work on the soap operas, Alan?
Thank God, no.
Oh, okay.
I did do some names you may not remember or know. Merv Griffin show.
Sure.
Jackie Gleason show. Shows like that. And Brian, if you want some inside information, they were quite amazing because I'll tell you one thing about each show. So Merv Griffin often had 2 guests on a day. So usually they were singers, kind of like comedians. And so I had to have 2 sets for each person. So I had to design 4 sets a day. Now, if the talk was going real well with Merv, maybe they would use 1 set. He would say, well, oh, I love your voice. Would you get up and sing that song? But the other set would never be used. Or if the talk was going real well, 2 of the sets may never be used, even though I had to do 4 a day.
Wow.
So it was kind of weird that way. The other thing was, what? Go
Did they
ahead.
give you an idea of what they wanted, or did they kind of give you kind of carte
Well,
blanche?
with songs, it would be whatever, had to fit what the song was.
Yeah.
Like how much is that doggy in the window, say?
You
So
gotta have a little, probably
it'd have
faux
to be
window.
maybe a street, like a window of a pet shop, or it depended. On the other hand, with Jackie Gleason, money was absolutely no limit. So like he'd have on Tiny Tim, and Tiny Tim would be singing Tiptoe Through the Tulips.
Yeah.
So we flew in like 4,000 tulips from Amsterdam.
Wow.
Like that, like that. Or he'd come on the set, he would do the rehearsal and go, this isn't funny enough. And he'd go back to his dressing room. Half an hour later, he'd hand me a script, and I'd have to go back to the shop and within hours create a new set that would be built and get ready to rehearse, that night or the next morning. And sometimes those sets were so elaborate, but
Did you have a whole lot of things to choose from, like in a warehouse, or obviously you had a team to build things?
Yeah, well, the way it worked, yeah, there was a warehouse I can go. And in fact, I have quite a story with that. I was flown out to California because Merv Griffin was coming from New York City in his own theater. And I was flown out to California because he had flown there to do the show. And he had a previous set when he was there, and he walks on stage and said, I don't like this set anymore. Where's my designer? This is my first day on the job, like the first hour. Allen, I don't like any of this. Get me a new set. And I could have been fired that afternoon if he didn't like what I did. But I went to the warehouse and I chose this silver and gold lame shredded like curtains, shiny bright, and he loved it because he could make a grand entrance by walking through it. And so I was fine. But it was touch and go.
Wow. Wow. I'm curious about your red nose there. Do you carry that with you all the time? What does it symbolize? What do you use it for?
I do carry it a lot, particularly when I'm traveling. It's so great at airports. In the car, if you're stuck in traffic, people can't see me, right? This is not video, but I have a red clown nose on.
Oh, it is video.
Oh, it is video.
Oh, it is video. Oh my, I didn't brush my hair. Oh
We served
no.
on that one, right? Yeah.
Now you tell me.
You're a professional.
Uh, well, I used to do it when I did workshops. Everyone in the audience got one. They could not see what it was. It was in an envelope. And I would tell them to think about some negative thing in their life, something stressful, something not going well, and just concentrate on that for 30 seconds. And then with that in mind, open that envelope, take what's inside of it, take that out and put it on your nose and look around the room. And they would start to laugh. And I would say, what happened to the stressful things you were talking about? And they would go, they're gone. So I was making a point, and you don't have to know a joke. You don't have to tell an anecdote or a story. You just have a little thing like this. And so it came from making, as part of my workshop.
I love it.
I would imagine a whoopee cushion might kind of work in the same regard.
Yeah. Now
I don't know
you
if you ever
tell me
brought one of those along with you.
500 whoopee cushions going off at once.
Careful, Brian, you give me some ideas to surprise you on our show
Oh
here.
yeah, that wasn't me. That wasn't me. Hey.
Well, I'll tell you, what do you buy off of Amazon when you just don't have anything else to do?
What
Googly
did I-
eyes.
Oh my
Oh.
gosh. Okay.
I'm going to
Oh,
be
those
sticking
are
them on
great.
toilets, on.
Those are great.
Oh, yeah.
That's
It was
funny.
one of those trying to find
You
humor in
know,
things.
I haven't done a workshop in a long time, but I should have those, give those out and have everyone in the audience put them, because it's always was often in a hotel, and put them around the hotel.
That would be fun. I'm going to put some on my plant back there.
Oh
Put 'em on
yeah.
elevator buttons. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Nice. Wow. I mean, we've only scratched the surface of what you've done and what you've experienced. What's next? Now we're winding down here. What do you got coming up? What do you still want to
So
do?
funny you asked that. Almost a documentary, but that's not going to happen. I just found out this week. So I'm writing little segments of my life, like the time I was in the restroom with Robert Redford.
Okay.
And you want to read that, right?
Of course.
And
But I don't know if it's going to be a book. I don't know what it's going to be. I've written 40 of them. So, they're like 2 pages, 3 pages. So they're very short. I'm thinking there might be a book, but I'm also thinking who's going to want to read that? And I don't know. So I'm just writing that. And the other thing with the new publisher, I just tell them about, that I might have a new book coming, because I've never written a book on my TEDx talk about intentions. And so I just ran it by the marketing person, and she said, what a great idea. You've hit 5, or I know 4, she said, of the top, points in that people are interested in that we know of in marketing. So that kind of maybe spurs me on to writing something. I keep telling people I'm not writing another book because Brian, what it takes, right? It's a lot.
yeah.
And then it's a lot of publicity. It takes up years of your life.
Yeah, Jamie's written books too. Yeah.
Oh, there, Jamie. So too. So it's after the awe factor, I kept saying I'm not writing anything else. But suddenly it seems like doors are opening with this new publisher that maybe. And I said, do you pay in advance? Because I won't write it without an advance. She said, yeah, we pay in advance. So
Really?
I don't know. We'll see.
Well, I always look forward to seeing what's next from you, and always enjoy chatting with you, and have enjoyed our friendship. It's probably been 3 or 4 years now, I think, since we connected. My book, I can't believe how time flies. It came out, my last one, right at the beginning of 19. Jeez.
Yeah. I'm a Healing Power of Humor, by the way, came out in 1989.
Wow.
Long time ago. It's still selling. I still get royalties. It's amazing,
Well, it's an important message.
we
It
never
is.
know. We never know. Yeah. So I may have a book. I am writing. I'm not sure what'll happen to it. I don't know.
Just
People
keeping
keep saying you should write a book about your life, so maybe I should. I don't know.
I'd love to read it.
Yeah.
I'm very interesed in reading it. It
Oh,
sounds
2 copies
very
sold.
colorful. I
Yay.
was going to say,
You have 2 books sold, do it.
Hey, I can tell clear now. Already pre-sold 2 copies.
see, you get paid in advance.
I know.
They'll give me $1 a copy.
Yeah. Jamie, anything else before we wrap this up?
Alan, I am
no.
so thrilled to be able to connect with you and would love to continue the connection and have you on again.
Yeah, this has been fun. Anything else? We could talk about a lot of stuff, I guess.
Oh no, it will never be a problem.
Like the time I marched in the Macy Day Parade, but maybe we'll save that for next time.
And it also needs to go in your book.
And what?
And it needs to go into your book.
Oh, yeah. Well, there is. Yeah, I wrote a story about it. Oh, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, until next time.
All right. This has been
Very much.
Thank you, Alan.
so much fun. I can't believe it's over.
I know.
Half
It's
hour.
amazing. But thank you so much.
Thank
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for joining Jamie and Brian on Recess, the podcast, the twice-weekly show of eclectic, inspired, and entertaining discussion. Be sure to subscribe as well as share with your friends and spread the good news. It's always appreciated. If you'd like to learn more about Jamie's intuitive coaching services and creative projects, please go to jamiedawn.com. And if you'd like to learn more about Brian and his creative spark world and books, please go to gbrianbenson.com.